Hey there, Marina here with Let It Go, Laugh and Leap Forward. Today I wanted to draw a picture to make a point. So here's my picture. It's a monster. Right? This made me think of how we are the creators of our emotions. We have outside forces. In this case, I'm going to make this a metaphor of, anything that makes us scared. So here it is, something I drew that makes me scared. Every time I look at it, I get a scared reaction in my body. I produce this emotion of fear. Something I'm aware of, something I know that every time I feel it, I know it's fear or it's labeled as fear. But if you kind of deconstruct it, it's not really this that's making me afraid. I look at it and I perceive it and I know it well, it's a scary picture, and then these feelings and the label of fear arises in me. The interesting thing is that this symbolizes so many things in life. Basically, if I'm afraid of seeing this, I'm afraid, what I'm really afraid of is feeling this feeling that I create. So what if, instead of trying to change feelings and not feeling them, or change your environment and never draw a picture like this again, or someone else drew another scary monster, being afraid of that even though I didn't draw it, these represent things that we give our power away to because we're afraid of feeling the reaction. But the reaction is something that we feel and we create. So essentially, we're afraid of ourselves. So it's like going, like every time you see something. Or it's like an emotional exorcism, like a feeling arises and then we're afraid of it. It's like you're afraid of yourself. You're afraid of something that you yourself are creating. A lot of processes, a lot of healing modalities, fast EFT included, a lot of people find these methods and tools, myself included, because we don't want to feel the way we're feeling. Whether it's fear, depression, for me it was depression when I found it. We want to change, we don't want to feel what we're feeling, we want to be more in charge. We start learning more about how to be empowered. We start learning more about how these are things we are perceiving and reacting to. And with this knowledge, we start feeling better. But still, there's so much underlying of trying to change the way we feel and trying to force it to be different. Fast EFT is a very good practical way of using tapping based on a belief system that there's nothing wrong with you and you're creating and producing these feelings the way you know how based on all your past experiences. You're just reacting because you know how. So that's all great and good. But what I wanted to address here is, what if you really looked at every time you're reacting and you're looking at even the label of the feeling that's arising in you as a negative feeling, to even challenge that and say, look at it, turn towards it, and not try to change it, and not try to make it go away, not try to will it away, not try to avoid it away, but actually allow it to be here. And what do I mean by allowing it to be here? Stop and feel it. Stop and let yourself be very uncomfortable. I heard somewhere in a study, and I need to find this study, and if anyone else knows of this study, then please send it to me, that all sensations in the body, all feelings, reactions, whether it's the deepest grief, the deepest fear, hatred, all the sensations associated with these labels can only last and produce in the body for up to 1.5 minutes. That means if you're not fueling these sensations with a story and you just stop and sit with the reaction in your body without the churn in your mind of feeding and fueling it, because the mind and body are connected in one, that feeling, no matter how uncomfortable and horrible, will leave your body and dissipate and dissolve on its own. Can you do that? It is definitely the bravest thing that I believe anyone can do. But if you really realize that you're afraid of yourself, you're afraid of the reactions and the feelings that you're producing yourself, it becomes kind of silly if you really realize this. And again, this is concept me talking, but you have to fully experience it for yourself, no matter what feelings are rising in you. Can you just sit with them? Can you practice that uncomfortable feeling, which again, you're labeling as uncomfortable? Each feeling is just a feeling, and I'm using interchangeably the word feeling and sensation, because really it's a sensation that you're labeling as good or bad. But if you really dive in and allow yourself to feel that sensation, that label of that's a bad feeling, you learn that somewhere too. For somewhere along the line, you learn that I don't like feeling this way. This feeling arises in me when this happens. Another feeling arises in me when I see a monster picture. So, I wanted to bring this up and see what thoughts it brings up in you. This is something that I have been really working with and deepening my self-practice. My practice with myself and my own experience is the practice of allowing all sensations, all feelings to just be there and see what happens. I still use tapping a whole bunch. I use it every single day, whether mentally or actually physically. But I'm also dabbling and playing with this because I'm finding it to be, in my personal experience, extremely powerful. It's not always easy, but it's another way too. What if you didn't have to try to change how you feel? They're coming back and rising up in your awareness. What if you can just let them be there? See what happens. If you stop fighting with it and let yourself be uncomfortable, what's the worst that can happen? So, that's me today. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. The emotion that I am creating and then having this as a drawing, I'm afraid of. So, how do I explain this? This is my representation of fear. So, every time I look at this monster, I feel fear.